guys, in this video I'm going to be talking about Sibylla, who was the Queen of Jerusalem. I've also created this makeup look inspired by Eva Green, who acts as Sibylla in the film Kingdom of Heaven. This look was requested to me by Eunice Chang, so thank you Eunice, I've really enjoyed putting this look together. Before I show you how I got this makeup look, I'm first going to talk about Sibylla, who is very different from the film's portrayal of her. Sibylla was born in 1160. She was the daughter of Almeric of Jerusalem, who was the younger brother of King Baldwin III. In 1163, King Baldwin III died, and Sibylla's father became the King of Jerusalem. Sibylla was then raised by her father's aunt. Sibylla had a younger brother called Baldwin who was suffering from leprosy. It was believed that her brother wasn't going to live for long, so it was very important for Sibylla to find a husband and produce a male heir for the kingdom. In 1174, Sibylla's father died, and so her brother became King Baldwin IV. He was only 13 years old. Sibylla married William Longsword, who was the cousin of Louis VII of France and the cousin of the Holy Roman Emperor Friedrich. Sibylla was 16 years old at the time and quickly fell pregnant after the marriage, but her husband William also fell ill not long after the marriage and shortly died. Sibylla later gave birth to a son she named Baldwin. Meanwhile, Sibylla's brother Baldwin IV started to prepare his sister in ruling the kingdom, as she was now his heir. There was also a search to find Sibylla another husband. She had already been rejected by 2 noblemen, and another was rejected on behalf of the High Court of Jerusalem. But in 1180, Sibylla married Guy Lusignan, a French knight. Guy was seen as unworthy to marry Sibylla, as he didn't really have any wealth of his own. Baldwin IV later wanted to annul the marriage, but Sibylla prevented this. Baldwin IV died at the age of 23 in 1185. Before his death, he had appointed Sibylla's son as his heir. He was crowned as co-king at the age of 5, and when Baldwin IV died, Sibylla's son ruled alone as Baldwin V. Unfortunately, Baldwin V's solo reign lasted just over a year and he died at the age of 9. His mother Sibylla and her husband Guy then crowned themselves King and Queen of Jerusalem, but the people of Jerusalem were not happy to see Guy as their king. Sibylla's supporters required her to divorce Guy before they would recognise her as their queen. Sibylla reportedly agreed to divorce Guy but asked that she would be allowed to choose her next husband. This was agreed, and so she then chose her next husband to be Guy. Sibylla appeared to be very much in love with Guy, but she lost the love of her people. In 1187, Guy attempted to relieve Saladin's siege of Tiberias. Guy's army was completely destroyed at the Battle of Hattin, and he lost the entire kingdom of Jerusalem to Saladin, who was the first sultan of Egypt and Syria. Guy's life was spared after the battle and he was imprisoned by Saladin. Sibylla begged Saladin for her husband's release and he was finally released in 1188. Sibylla and Guy then fought in the Third Crusade to take back the Holy Land, but Sibylla died in 1190 on the siege camp of a fever, which also killed her 2 daughters she had with Guy. She was supposed to be a queen, but she lost the Holy Land and her people because of her love for one man. Now I'm going to show you how I got this makeup look inspired by Eva Green as Sibylla from the Kingdom of Heaven. I'm first priming my face with Maybelline's Pore Minimizing Primer. I'm now applying my Clean Matte Foundation from CoverGirl. This is in 520 Light. For bronzer, I'm using the one from my Naked Flush palette from Urban Decay, and I'm applying this along my cheekbones and along my jawline. And for the blush, I'm using the blush from the same palette. Eva's brows are quite straight, so I'm just combing down my brows and I'm going to fill them in with a black eyeshadow because her brows are quite dark as well. And as I'm filling them in, I'm just going to make them as straight as possible. Taking the lightest brown shade from my Shade and Light palette from Kat Von D, I'm applying this through my crease, blending it out. Now taking this darker brown shade, I'm darkening the outer part of my crease, and I'm also applying this along my lower lash line. Now with a black shade, I'm applying this heavily over my lids. Eva's shadow was quite messy, so you don't have to worry about being too neat with this. I'm now blending the shadow out, and then I'm going to apply more black shadow to my lids to darken them up again. I'm also applying this black shade heavily along my lower lash line. Now taking the shade third along from your right, the orangey brown shade, I'm going to apply this along my lower lash line. I'm also going to blend this shade just above my inner crease line. Now taking the white shade from the palette, I'm just applying this along my brow bone. Now I'm going to apply my Lash Sensational mascara from Maybelline. Now I'm contouring my nose. Now with a light brown shadow, I'm adding some fake freckles. In some scenes it doesn't look like Eva is wearing lipstick, but I'm applying this lipstick from BareMinerals in Tease, and I'm just rubbing this in with my finger so it looks more natural. And that completes this Sibylla inspired makeup look. Thank you very much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe if you want to see more from me, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!